Dude, I don't get it. I don't get it anymore. I don't understand our appetites, our interests. I get them in moments of in short bursts. I just can't get jiggy with any of the interests of other people, man. I'm so different, and I don't even mean that superiorly. I promise you. I think perhaps I was meant to be in a different kind of culture, quote unquote, meant to be. Obviously, I don't think anything was meant. It all just is. I'm not saying that I deserve to be in another culture, but this materialist consumption shit that we're on, where we're just so God, we put so many chips in just bullshit. So what? You have things. That's cool. So what happens after you have the things? Who are you as a person? What is the lifeline? What is the fuel for your interactions? How do y'all interact? Every time I always look, I try to be humble. I try. All right, let's start like this. Let's start like this. I try to be humble because it's a fact that I should be humble. And I mean, even it's a fact that Michael Jordan should be humble, that David Beckham should be humble, that Obama should be humble. Anybody who's reached the top should be humble. And because you are going to die, because you are just as much of a candidate for tragedy as the next person, no matter how much fortune you have come across, no matter how, even if it's a lot of your efforts put in there, it's still a lot of luck. It's still a lot of wonderful circumstance that was to your favor in some kind of way, whether it's even if it's your genetics. Let's say if there's something about myself that makes me more able to do something than somebody else. A lot of that has to do with some nature, some circuitry that I am not the ultimate author of. Even if you have strengthened your strengths, you're still, you can't take 100% of the credit for it, because it's due to like the society that I'm complaining about. It has given me the luxury and the conveniences, my family, the safety nets that I've had, the financial safety nets, the security. All these things have contributed to allowing me, enabling anybody to be the best person they could be, or to being successful in whatever regard that they're successful. So, but my point is that humility shouldn't even be, I don't give a fuck how awesome you think you are, how much of a god you believe yourself to be, how much of a gift you think you are to mankind. You are still a human. You are still going to die. And again, you didn't choose the environment you were born in. You did not choose your genetics. You probably did the best with the hand you were dealt. But again, so many variables, so many factors that you did not have control over, and you should be thankful and grateful. That's the humility I'm talking about, perspective, and also humility. Yeah, and realizing that you could have been a child in the Congo, and some Indonesian kid in a factory. You could have been that, but you're not, and you should be grateful for that. It doesn't mean their misery means your happiness, or their misery means you can't be happy. It's just that you are fortunate if you're fortunate. So, and don't think it's because some people think they're fortunate because God wanted them to be. That's some egotistical, self-centered shit. And so God wants all these other kids to suffer, huh? It's in his plan. Gotcha. But my point is that I, recognizing all that, I every time I go to any kind of social circles that are unfamiliar to me, and I get around people. I try. My point about the humility thing is that I try to be like, Marcus, you don't, just you can give some room to how you might not be right. That's what I'm talking about. Like you might not be right. Your way isn't the only way, and I don't think my way is the only way. But just because these people, am I even recording? Okay, I'm recording. Just because these people, just because these people might not believe in vulnerability and transparency, authenticity, non-judgmentalism, let's call it, being non-materialistic, talking about interest and focusing and emphasizing particular goals and strengthening the aspects of their internality. Just because that's not their groove, it doesn't mean that they don't have good connections. It doesn't mean that oh no, their bonds are shit. People's bonds suck. I'm sorry, man. They do. It's terrible. What they talk about, it's just, what are y'all talking about? Y'all just jerking each other off, man. It's just getting off on this fiction of each other. We have powerful imaginations, although we're not using our imaginations creatively. And what I mean is, like, I'll just reading, and it just it highlighted this for me when I was reading some literature about something, and I was like, yeah, this is true. How, like, we are moved by fiction constantly, and oftentimes we're moved by fiction more than reality. When we hear about hundreds dying in some faraway land for environmental reasons, or because of some dictatorship or tyranny or something like that, it's kind of like, oh, that's sad, and like it doesn't really affect us deeply. But we can witness in a show or through reading a book someone dying that meant a lot to us, an imaginary person, and that would affect us more deeply, because we are affected by fiction greatly, and our imaginations are very powerful, and what's not real can very much so be construed as real very easily, just depending upon how we're using our attention and what happens to win us over attentively. And there's a lot of fiction going on in our interactions. A lot of let me look really, really good, and let me have really, really nice things, and now I'm valid. Now I'm this person, and in this person's head, here's the thing: in the person's head, two things. I ain't got nothing against having things. I ain't got nothing against looking good. I'm talking about putting all your chips in this basket and acting as if this is supposed to mean something, acting as if therefore now your self-worth, you stop there. I'm annoyed at people just stopping there. So you have the shit and you think, now I'm an interesting person. Now people should want to listen to me. Now when I talk, I could say anything that comes off my fucking head and it should be interesting, right? No, you're boring as fuck. No, you're uninteresting as fuck. And when these people interact, I be witnessing it, man. When these people talk to each other, they just bullshit. And it's like they're on stage in theater. It's such acting going on. They're getting, it's as if an audience is watching them. But it's like acting without a fucking audience. It's a rehearsal happening of some sort. And it's not even a rehearsal. It's the actual play. It's time. The lights are on. They're fucking acting. And they're getting off on nothing. Nothing is being said. No fucking real connections are being made. It's all so surface level, and therefore it's all such bullshit. And the reason why it's infuriating and annoying, because no one's calling anybody out on this shit. It's being perpetuated because everybody is such cowards. Everyone's so scared. And I am a coward. I'm scared. And I'm just saying, I know it's easier said than done. I know it's easier said than done to be somebody just trying to make, because you know what the thing about, the greatest pain I've ever felt is from loved ones. The greatest pain I've ever felt has been from a significant other. I've experienced the greatest love, and I experienced the greatest amount of hatred, I should say. It's like an inverse fucking relationship. And so it's the people that you create bonds with that tend to be able to affect you more than anybody. So then it's this feeling of, hey, I don't want to have too strong a bond, too strong a connection, because this motherfucker will let me down. That's fine, because I'm not saying that's fine, but I'm saying that's understandable, I should say. I will agree with you. I will give you that to be hesitant to create an actual bond is understandable, because people, being people, will ultimately eventually let you down. But that's why we have to have other aspects to the perspective, to the approach. It can't be you we put so much weight on other people to bring us happiness. Like it needs to be, I want this bond, but also you need to simultaneously recognize that they suck and they could be great. That you suck and you could be great. You're both. You're a piece of shit and you're an amazing person. Why can't it be both? Why is that so fucking hard? An aspiration, so hard a perception to acquire. And I find that it's weak. You know, at my weakest, because I have like really, really weak moments. And also this fighter, because I watch a lot of UFC stuff, and this dude, Kamaru Usman, said it in his interview. This was one line he said. And I was like, man, like that's so fucking true. And and this is out of context, but he said fatigue makes cowards of us all. And he just said it fleetingly. It was just part of this whole thing he was talking about. But I was like, yeah, fatigue does make cowards of us all. And it's like we're all so tired and so malnourished. And by the way, malnourished doesn't mean that you're calorically deficient. You could be eating your food and still be malnourished because you're not getting your proper nutrients. But look, let me check it out. But check it out though. But fatigue make cowards of us all, and we're all such cowards. And some of the strongest people are the people that recognize that. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I don't look at Will Smith and I'm like, ooh, Will Smith. You know, I don't. But he did say this line where he was like, he's always scared. He has fear. Fear is a very powerful motivator for him, or something like that. And I just remember that. I remember all these little lines from people. Some things just stand out to my mind, and they just stay in my mind. This guy, David Goggins, who people, you know, you can love him or hate him. He's inspirational with his efforts, and he talks about using the fear and acknowledging the fear. And the thing is, I know these things to be true without anybody telling me, but it's always very reinforcing. It's always very validating when you hear other people echoing these kinds of things. But my point is that I can't stand our culture and how we just be on bullshit constantly. We think that connections are like, I don't know how, like, why isn't anybody talking about how much our music sucks? I don't get how, like, people are just co-siding and like listening on the radio, listening to bullshit in these shows, bullshit. Like, things suck, but nobody wants to admit they suck. Everybody's just eating it up. And it does kill me. And then when people are conversing, everybody just smiling in each other's faces, acting like it's not all good. Our connections and our relationships are bullshit. They're all dumb. Like, you're not going further. Okay, so we're the meaning makers, right? If you want to talk about the meaning of life, we are the meaning makers. And I guess why is this annoying? Why is this infuriating? Why can't it just be, hey, let them live their life? That's how they want to do let them do it. Why do I not feel that way? Why is it so difficult for me to let people just do their thing? It's difficult for me because I guess I believe that I'm right. That's the unfortunate part. I believe I'm right, and I have yet to be persuaded otherwise. I'm open to it. I'm open to believing that we're not missing out on something by not being transparent and authentic and honest and self-explorative and mindful and having mutual genuine interest and the vulnerability and all that. I'm open to being incorrect that that's the higher level of communication. It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like before the health trend and how people were just talking so much shit about eating healthy and everybody thought it was just like, whatever, you know, you're just doing that they thought it was just a weight thing and stuff. And now people are coming to understand, and people at the highest levels of athleticism and whatnot, they're coming to see that, okay, no, I need to be fucking healthy, well-roundedly healthy, and because it will boost my performance, because it just helps everything. It helps me mentally. All the things that were like a decade ago being looked over and glossed over as just some kind of trendy hippie stuff is now being recognized as the best way to have the highest optimal sort of physicality. And so that's why I look at it like this with this conversation with bond stuff. I'm like, we're going to see eventually, or maybe not. That's my fear. My fear is that this won't be realized. My fear is that we're going the way of idiocracy because we're so cowardly and we're such enablers for each other's bullshit. And we co-sign each other's bullshit, and this culture's bullshit, and the fact that we are so materialistic for what, I really don't. I don't see. You got shit. Again, you got shit. What else? What makes you want to stick around with somebody? What makes somebody interesting? To me, what makes a person so fucking interesting, what makes me want to be in their company and talk to them is an effort to understand themselves. You know what? And to understand this thing called humanity, or this thing called life. You know why? Because it's transferable. A lot of other shit is non-transferable. It's non-transferable because you're into materialistic shit that has nothing to do with the thing that's most important to human connection. Because you look good, that has nothing to do with the thing that's most important to human connection. These things are all nice little seasonings, perhaps, and little cherries on top and sweeteners and whatnot, but they lack the nutrients that make it feel like that feeling of life, that life is worth living, that life is something more. And everybody wants that more. And my fear is that people are going to continue to perpetuate the bullshit and indulge in the bullshit. And they're not going to see that having a genuine connection is what makes life. It's what makes it's inspiring. And oh, by the way, the transferable thing, when you understand yourself or make that effort to be self-honest and to rid yourself of self-deception, you tend to then have an interest in understanding another person. And what is one of the most attractive things platonically about another fucking person is when they have a genuine interest. I truly am interested in the strangers that I talk to. If I have a moment, if a stranger has my undivided attention, because we are in an environment where I want to know about their mentality. I truly, genuinely want to know about their psychology. I genuinely want to know about their hardships and how they're responding to them. I do. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm genuinely interested in all those things with myself. And I find that it tends to be transferable. Like then now, you're in the spotlight of my attention. What's going on with you? How are you handling this thing called life? Because life is a battle. Life is a struggle. Fuck that shit. It's hard to be a human being. We have this thing called intelligence. We have these things called thoughts, and they just keep going and going and going. And we tend to not address so much of what ails us, so much of what buries underneath. And therefore, we fucking, what do we become? We become these creatures of automaticity, the zombies, the sleepers. We don't want to admit that, we want love, right? They claim they want love. Nah, you scared of love, motherfucker. You want peace? You scared of peace. You scared of peace. Y'all are scared of peace. Y'all motherfuckers don't know what to do with yourself if there ain't some bullshit drama going on. And drama's exciting. I hear you, but guess what? I guarantee you that no matter how much peace you have in your life, no matter how much peace and love you have in your life, drama will come. I assure you. Tragedy will come. I assure you. So why not have it while you can have it? And why not have the best quality? I guess, again, it comes back to, I said this before. I suppose it's just, I'm greedy in the other kind of way. I look at other people and they're greedy. They're gluttons for this and that materially. Maybe dietarily. Cool. I'm greedy for that internal richness. I want all that shit. Give me that authenticity, motherfucker. I love it. Because also, what do we seek? What do we want? We want to reduce uncertainty. We want to reduce the chaos in our life. And what's one way of reducing those things? If you have a network of authentic people, you're reducing the unpredictability, the uncertainty, the chaos, because you're dealing with honest actors. You're dealing with people who you can have a confidence in, a confidence that they will be straightforward, a confidence that they will not be sitting on something, hiding something from you, deceiving you, trying to play you, bullshit you. That adds to the stability, that adds to the evenness. Because again, you can be like, oh no, I want the drama, I want all that. All right, if you have that high tolerance for stress and that tension and that irrationality, because one of the most infuriating things in the world to me is when conflict arises, to converse with those who have no tether to reality, to the actuality, and it's just pure emotion, or just even mostly emotion, and there's no logic there. To me, I'm emotional, I'm passionate. If you don't see that, then I don't know what to tell you. If you don't believe that, I don't know what to tell you. But I still prize logic in the most serious of situations, especially because conflict needs to be tackled. It needs to be dealt with. And when seriousness arises, logic is, to me, the cure. It expedites the process. Or do we want to wallow in the conflict and in the drama? Do we want to indulge in it? Or is that your desire? All right. My rant is over. I'm done. I got that off my chest. So, all right, peace out. I'm not editing this. Sorry if it spikes or yells or whatever the fuck. Love y'all. What is this? Thursday? It's Thursday, man. Peace out, y'all.